Okay, so go ahead and turn in your lab from last week if you haven't already. Atmospheric motion, it is due now. Um, and do you guys have any questions about the quiz from last week? You should be able to um, view your grade and how you did on each question. If you guys have any specific questions about your grade or anything with the quiz, then email me and we can look over that. All right, so this week we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We are going to be doing an outdoor observations lab. So instead of doing a chapter and an exercise from the lab book, we're going to be doing an activity outside. So something a little bit different. So the main things that you're going to be doing is cloud identification and matching it with satellite imagery and doing wind observations and then comparing it to a surface chart. So, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to stop sharing. This right here, this is going to be your assignment for this week. This is on eCampus, and we will walk through this. So if you go to eCampus, under the lab assignment turn-ins, you will see, or well, not yet because it's not available. But yeah, so if you go here, then you will be able to download this, and this is what you will work on your assignment for this week. So you'll download this file, it'll be a Word document, you type your stuff in, and then you'll turn it back into this link as normal. So we're going to walk through each of the things. So the materials, I already mentioned, if you got my email over the weekend, a ribbon or a lightweight string for the wind direction, and then a compass or downloading a compass app on your phone to measure the wind direction. So if you haven't been able to pick up a ribbon yet from the meteorology building here in College Station, that's okay, because you're going to have all week to do this activity. But if you're not able to come to campus or if you're not in town, then you can use something else, such as a ribbon or a lightweight string around your house to do this part of the activity. Okay, so anyways, the first part you're going to do is cloud identification. So you're going to take a picture of the sky in all directions where there are clouds. So you might have to take 4 pictures, or if you want, you can actually take like a panorama of the sky. So then you'll post that here, and then you'll talk about the clouds that you see and just describe them. And then there's an example right there. So on our slides for this week, I pasted in the overview of clouds that we did a couple weeks ago. So we can go through this quickly, and you can go back and reference this whenever you're doing the activity. So remember, cirrus, cumulus, stratus, nimbus, and alto. Those are Latin words that gives us the cloud classification types. And this is a Skywatcher chart. This will be a good reference, especially since it has
It's 1 o'clock.
Most of the cloud types here and like pictures of them, so you can reference this while you're out um, doing the activity. So we have our high clouds, cirrus, cirrostratus, cirrocumulus. Some pictures for these. Then our middle clouds, which are the alto clouds. We have altostratus, altocumulus. And then our low clouds, which have the stratus prefix. So stratus, stratocumulus, and nimbostratus. And some pictures of each of these. And then clouds with vertical development. These are the ones that have the cumula prefix. So cumulus and cumulonimbus. You'll see cumulus clouds a lot of times, but cumulonimbus, those are, you really only see those with severe thunderstorms, as you can see with the huge cloud tops. So unfortunately, we don't really get those in this area until like the springtime and the severe weather season. Okay, and then the next part of your assignment, once you identify and write down the cloud types, you're going to do the satellite imagery. So you're going to obtain a regional visible satellite imagery for wherever you are. So for those of you that are in College Station or pretty much anywhere in Texas, there's a couple of links that you can use. This one, these are both on the assignment. This is one of the visible satellite imageries on A&M's meteorology website, but there is also the um, Go satellite website that I showed you guys a couple weeks ago that has a bunch of different options. Um, so yeah, whenever you do your activity, you'll take the matching satellite imagery and then post that in here, and then you will talk about how um, it relates to your visual ground level observations of the clouds. And then if you want to do a bonus, you don't have to, but if you want to get a few extra points, you can obtain a similar regional infrared satellite picture and discuss how you might use this to determine cloud height. So again, this is optional, but take a shot at it if you want. And then the next part is wind observations. So for this part, you're going to want to find an area as open as possible and be away from buildings and trees, especially in the direction from which the wind is blowing. So if you have northerly winds, then you're going to want to go to an area where there's not like trees or buildings blocking the wind from the north. So as open an area as possible, and then you're going to hold your ribbon or string up in the air, and then just hold it up there for a minute or two, and then observe the primary direction that the ribbon seems to be extending. And then remember, uh, we talked about this earlier in the semester, the wind direction and the degrees. Um, Whenever you do this, the direction that the ribbon is extending, this will be the direction that the wind is blowing towards. So you'll mark this down right here to the nearest 10th degree. But remember, in meteorology, we measure direction by wherever the wind is coming from. So if it's blowing to the south, that means it's actually coming from the north. So we would refer to that as a northerly wind. So whatever you measure right here, the direction that the ribbon is flowing, you'll have to adjust that by 180 degrees, again, to the nearest 10th degree to get your wind direction. And then you'll notate it and what direction it's coming from, like north, northwest, west, or southeast, or whatever. And then the next thing you're going to do is estimate your wind speed by observing various things around you. So this link right here um, links you to this synoptic wind chart. So it's just a description and a few specifications that categorizes a few common things that might differentiate between these different categories, such as a light breeze, leaves rustling, and then small twigs and a constant motion. So this is just an estimate, and then you'll put um, what mile per hour you um, think that the wind is in, and then you'll discuss why you estimated that specific wind speed. And then we've also looked at surface charts a little bit. So the next thing you're going to do is retrieve a current chart of surface observations by clicking on the area you're located. You click this link right here, it'll take you to the RAP website. So I'll actually just click on this just to show you what comes up. So it'll pull up like this, and then depending on where you are, you'll click on one of these um, locations. So if you're in Texas, then the one you're going to want to click on is ABI, stands for Abilene, but it shows the entire state of Texas. So you'll in on here, and then in College Station, we are right here, CLL, that's the code for our airport. And remember, the circular part here in the middle, that shows you the current cloud burst. So right now it looks like we're partly cloudy. And also you'll see for all the other surface plots, there's the wind barb. But if you look at the College Station one, there's no wind barb right now. So that means that the winds are calm. So I'll talk about this more in a minute, but this wouldn't be, like right now, wouldn't be a good time to do your activity because there's no wind. So anyways, you're going to copy and paste this image, put it in your Word document, and then talk about it as well. Discuss the comparisons, similarities, differences, and possible sources of errors in your estimation. So the main two things you're going to talk about is the wind direction and then the cloud cover. And then the last thing I have on here is going to your local National Weather Service, and then just looking at the current conditions and forecast. Um, so on here, I have a screen cap from last week. So this is from last Wednesday, but you'll go on here and it'll look like this, and it'll show you the current conditions and then a forecast for the rest of the week. So after you do everything else, go on here, and then you'll get the measured temperature values, and then other stuff like your humidity, and then the wind speed, so you can compare to what you observed. And then you're just going to talk about everything that you see here, and then the comparisons, and discuss what you find. You can also talk about the forecast as well. So I'll just need like 4 or 5 sentences or a paragraph or two, just talking about the current conditions and forecast. And again, you'll use this document. Make sure you notate where you are. So I know a lot of you are in College Station, so make sure you put that down, and then the time and date that you do this activity. But if you're not in College Station, if you're in your hometown or wherever you are, then make sure you notate that as well. So you can do this no matter where you are. And so yeah, so I mentioned you'll want to wait to do this whenever it's optimal to do this activity, whenever there's clouds in the sky and there's a breeze outside. Um, so right now, as we just looked at that surface chart, there's not very much wind right now. So you'll probably want to wait. It may even be a little bit breezier this afternoon. So whenever there's even just like a light breeze, and then it's at least partly cloudy in the sky, then this will be that'll be a good time to do your activity. So you'll have this entire week to do it. And as long as you turn it in by next Tuesday, you can do your activity anytime between now and then. But I would recommend not waiting until next week on Tuesday morning, because um, there's if there's no clouds and no wind next Tuesday morning, then you won't be able to do this activity properly. So really this week, all this is a participation grade, as long as you're able to do this whenever there's actually clouds and wind happening. So if you wait to do it until the last minute and there's no clouds and no wind, then you'll lose a few points. So I would recommend, as soon as, just look at the weather over the next few days while you're outside walking between your classes. If you see that it's cloudy and there's a breeze, then go ahead and do this activity, because it shouldn't take you more than 10 or 15 minutes. Okay, I have a question in the chat. What if the info contradicts whatever we collect when we compare it to the maps or plots? Okay, so there's a possibility of that happening. So if that happens, then discuss possible errors of why that might be. So as long as you do it like in like an open area, then your wind observation should match up to wherever you are. So yeah, just one more thing. Like, for example, if you're in your hometown, say like the Dallas area or the Houston area, whenever you're doing the wind part in the National Weather Service part, obviously you're going to reference that area, not College Station. So on the surface plot, if you're in Houston, you can reference one of the other plots they have on here, or up in Dallas. So make sure you're referencing the closest one to wherever you are. Can the wind observation time and cloud observation time be different? No, please try and do both the wind and the cloud observations at the same time. So that way you don't have to get multiple satellite and surface plot images. Is there any other questions? I also put this PowerPoint slide on eCampus. If you just want to review everything that I just talked about, that'll be on there as well. Any other questions about the activity this week?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You said we could do it anywhere, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because
So like
I'll
I
be
said,
out of.
like
Oh,
no, go
sorry.
ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I was gonna be out of town for a wedding, and that's gonna be like the whole weekend. So I was just wondering
Yeah,
if it
so
could
if
be
you have
anywhere.
yeah, so if you have a few extra minutes this weekend, then you can go ahead and do that activity where you are. So hopefully, at the beginning of class next week, we can just to discuss for a few minutes about what everyone observed. So if there's a few of y'all outside of College Station, then that'll be even better because we can discuss what everyone observed in a few different places rather than just College Station.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Because I'll be in Indiana. So
oh wow, so yeah, that'll be very different from the weather here. So yeah, that would be cool.
okay, I'll be
Um,
sure to do that then.
a couple more questions. So if we do it somewhere different, yes, no matter where you are, please specify the time and location that you do this. So if you do it tomorrow in College Station, write College Station, and then whatever the date is. So no matter if you're in Indiana or College Station, please notate the location you're at. And then an open area, how open should it be? Again, just as far away from um, buildings and trees as possible. I know on campus, I'm not like super familiar with campus since I'm still fairly new here, but I know there's a few like open fields, like I think like the drill field over by the MSC, or I know over by the meteorology building, there's like an open field there too. Um, Maybe over by the like golf course or over like on West Campus or even like at your apartment or wherever if you like live off campus, as long as um, have a relatively open area, as long as it doesn't obstruct the wind, then you should be fine. You don't have to like drive out into the middle of the country to do this. Okay, any other questions? Okay. Unless you guys have any other questions, that's all for this week. Again, this is due next Tuesday, the same time as normal. If you guys run into any issues throughout the week or have any questions about this activity, then please feel free to email me. Otherwise, I will see you all next week. Thanks, guys.